one of those wires has lana coat inside those crimped terminals before I crimp them. Apparently this is not a good thing. Have I made a big mistake? Will I need to re-crimp all the wires? Well, I test them to find out. I put more than 4 times the amperage through the wires and see if it'll fail before it should. Watch the rest of the video to find out. Good Monday morning. Well, it came up in a recent video on my electronics for my boat. When dealing with the 48 volt side of it, I was doing something which has been called into question, and I think that's fair enough to call it out. What I was doing is, before I was crimping, I was using crimps like this, removing the plastic. I was using a decent crimper like this one. Lugs on. This is a 5mm cable. Cross section, and what I was doing is putting it in lana coat, which is lanolin based, and I was dipping the end of the wire in lana coat and taking off the excess, putting it on and crimping it. Well, yeah, absolutely, that will slow down corrosion. I have no doubt about that. Because the excess squeezes out. I was putting the heat shrink on it. After that, I was quite happy with the result, until I saw a comment online by Lee. Will it carry the load that I intended it for? So I'm going to find out. I'm going to connect up equal lengths of wire to my welder and increase the current to the point of failure. I'm just going to go up in maybe increments of 10 amps to the point of failure. Obviously, if I put lana coat inside there, that's probably the one that'll fail first. So first of all, I'll just do 2. One dipped in the lanolin and one not. And I'll make them 100mm long. So I've taken this plastic bit off the terminal. I'll do that for both. First, the one with the lanolin. Wipe off the excess, as I've been doing. So that's provided a real decent looking little crimp. And now I'll do the other one. Okay, I'm going to have to determine which is which, so it's clear for you guys as well. I'll put a bit of tape on the one without lanolin. So I'm putting red tape on the one with lanolin on it. And green is on the other one, which I haven't crimped yet. And this one's green for probably what is best practice. So there you go, that one's as hard as I can go. Looks just the same, doesn't it? Now for the fun part. I'm going to put a lug on the other end as well, on both of them, and I'm going to treat that end like this one. I'm going to put lanolin on here again before I put the lug on. So there's 2 ends with lanolin, and then I can put the lug in the vise. Right, I'm going to strip off the plastic now. So this is the one with lanolin. It's going to have a little twist of wire on here. I think that's as tight as you'll get any screw connecting it. Because this is DC set up in the boat, the welder can run on DC. We won't put it on pulse. So here we have the amperage setting. It's pretty crude, really, but it'll give us an idea. I just want some peace of mind from this experiment. Okay, I just had a look at the back of the welder because I wanted to see what voltage it is. Looks like it's 24 volts, which is a good thing. So I'm going to simulate the induction cooker, which is it can go up to 1500 watts, or it uses around 30 amps maximum. I'm going to start it on 20 amps starting now. I don't know if I'm imagining it, but it feels slightly warm. Of course, both these ends are really good heat sinks. So on 12, I'm going to take it up to 30 amps. It's fairly warm. Because it's a 24 volt welder, do I need to double the amperage to make it the same as what's on the boat? I really don't know if it's warming up or not. It feels slightly warm. So that's 40 amps. It's 3/4 of a minute now. Now I'm taking it to 50 amps. Okay, it's coming up to a minute again. So then we're going to go to 60 amps. Still, it's only slightly warm. Okay, 70 amps. So once again, this is the wire without the lanolin on it. So what we have here is best practice. Coming up to a minute, we're going up to 80 amps. I wonder what the duty cycle of my welder is. It's going to be testing it, I think. Oh yeah, there's definitely some heat going into it now. If it was a cup of tea temperature, you could drink it fairly easily. So our next will be 100 amps on 12, but the terminals themselves are no warmer than the wire. So in watt terms, we're way past for this to pass the test of running then. So we're well above it now. So we've just gone up to 120. Getting a bit nervous about touching it now. Yeah. If I touched the side of a teacup and I felt this temperature, I'd want to let it cool down just a little bit. 120 amps times 24 volts. That's some serious power going in there now. So we'll go up to 130 now. Not melting the sheathing yet, I don't think, at this temperature. So we're at 130 right now. And coming up to a minute. Let's go up to 140. 140 it is. Yeah, I can't keep my fingers on this end for long. This end's definitely a bit cooler, and the wire right beside it is much hotter. But of course there's a big heat sink there. It's going from the terminal into this copper big terminal here. Interestingly, the terminal itself is warm. So that's why they say when you install terminals on wires and things, make the stud size as big as possible if that's an option. Definitely my maximum is 160. We're 150 now. If we get to 160 and it's not catching on fire or melting, I think we've done a really good job of testing it. I thought I just heard some marking somewhere, and I can starting to smell it. Something's heating up a lot. Now let's try it on 160, which is pretty much full bore for this welder, so it must be close to hitting its duty cycle. I'm just seeing if the welding... Whoa, they're really hot. Okay, definitely gonna stop this at the end of this minute. I would say that's passed with flying colours, and this is best practice. The terminals are absolutely fine. Ouch. Very good. Now the welder's definitely got to cool down a bit. 160 amps times 24 volts is 3600 watts. So it's never going to experience the temperature in the wire that I put it through. But I was trying to test it till failure. I'm quite comfortable after seeing this that the wire sizing to the induction cooker is absolutely fine. Like I said, this is a rudimentary test. This is like a farmyard test out in the country without all the gear, but it does tell me something. Okay, the welder's cooling down, and I'm going to give it quite a while to cool down because that was quite a big effort for it. Now I'm going to start setting up and put the terminals and the wire on that I've used lana coat inside the terminals. I'm really keen to see what situation I put myself in by putting lana coat on the wires before I put them in the terminals. Oh, still a little bit of current running through there. I just noticed a couple of strands here. When you don't use the proper gear, that's what you risk. Okay, this bit of 5mm cross-section wire has had lana coat, lanolin, put on each end. Was thinking I wanted to prevent corrosion in there and going down the wires. It took so long to do that last test, I'm going to go up in increments of 20 this time. Okay, we're going to go from 20 to 40. One of the reasons I'm speeding it up is because that was pretty tough on the welder to be running continuously close to full power last time. So I don't want to blow up my welder, but you remember I put this bit of wire on this one to show that it was the one with lanolin inside those terminals. If there's not good contact in them, you'd expect the terminals to be heating up faster than the wire, that's for sure. So I'm going from 40 to 60. I can barely detect any temperature there, but at 60 it's already up to the temperature, up to the wattage. It's twice the amperage. It's already up to the wattage that will be experienced in the boat when the induction cooker is going flat out, because it uses 30 amps, but this is half the voltage. So I'm going to go from 60 to 80. I think you remember last time around I was detecting a slight temperature increase at around 80 or 90 last time. So far so good. So from this I'm going to go from 80 to 100 for a minute. Once again, don't base your decisions at home in your own boat on what I'm showing here. This is for my own peace of mind. Once again, it's the wire that feels hotter rather than the terminals, although the terminals themselves are getting a great heat sink by going into these end bits. I'm going from 100 to 120. The wire in the middle is heating up more than the wire in the ends, which is kind of what you'd expect because there's heat sinks at the ends. So I'm going to go up to 130 now. I wouldn't want to drink a cup of tea if it felt like that temperature. That's giving me a lot of confidence. Look at you, little wire, hanging in there. Okay, I'm going to from 130 to 140. Oops. The terminal feels about the same temperature, this big terminal, as last time. It's just like lukewarm. The terminals on the welder are okay. Okay, going to 150. Yeah, those terminals are getting pretty hot now, but not as hot as the wire in the middle. I'm only going to do a minute at 160, but 160 amps times 24 volts way exceeds what it'll ever experience on the boat, unless there's a short circuit. 160 amps times 24 volts, and look at it hanging in there. I'm not giving it much time to heat up, but not instantly melting. Not forgetting this had a couple of strands off it as well. Bit of a rookie mistake. I can confidently say, for me, it's worked, but don't do it at home. Don't put any kind of anti-corrosion paste or liquid inside your terminals before you crimp them. Although it seems I've got away with it. Still some current there, even though it's dialed right down. Thanks for watching that test, guys. If the test had failed, absolutely I would have put new terminals on all the wiring. Thanks, Lee, for pulling me up about that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.